Grand Rising Angels. This is Kimra Manuti, your friendly neighborhood Ascension coach. And I am coming to you live this morning to um, to answer a question that one of my classmates had about Ascension symptoms. So, first and foremost, I would like to say thank you so much to Heather Alice Shea at the Atmana Intuitive Academy for number one, um, creating a life coach program for intuitives. Okay. There's not a program out there like this. It's freaking amazing. And we are super grateful to have Heather leading the charge on this intuitive forefront with coaching. Okay. So, first and foremost, and then secondarily, how awesome is it that we had a whole class on Ascension symptoms yesterday? Freaking phenomenal. So, hey, those of you who just jumped on live, hi, how are you? Please feel free to drop a comment and let me know who you are and say hello. If you're not using StreamYard, that's okay, but please click the link for StreamYard so that you can sign up. That way I can see who you are. Or just drop your name in the comments so I know who you're commenting for. Okay, so the purpose of today's live is to talk about Ascension symptoms, right? Because I'm an Ascension coach. It's my jam. And I'm super passionate about it. And yesterday, one of our classmates, her name is Alisha, she came up with a brilliant set of questions, super brilliant. Because when we were talking about the Ascension symptoms, she noticed that a lot of the Ascension symptoms seem to mimic something related to something known as mold illness. Okay. And excuse me, I just woke up, guys, but I had to get on live and talk about this. So here's the thing about Ascension symptoms. Okay. Ascension symptoms, um, they mimic many diseases, not just mold illness. They mimic Lyme disease, they mimic um, um, COVID symptoms, actually, to be honest. Like, if you look at the long COVID symptoms, you will find that a lot of the long COVID symptoms and the Ascension symptoms actually overlap. So, the thing that I want to talk about with Ascension symptoms in answer to her question is that it's very difficult to pinpoint a specific set of diseases and um, try to separate them from an Ascension symptom because the Ascension symptoms tend to overlap actual physical illnesses that you may have. Okay. And the reason for that is that in general, the people who have Ascension symptoms initially are people who are more sensitive, right? So they're intuitives, they're empaths, they're highly sensitive people, right? So that's already a group of individuals who are having heightened physical responses to this environment. Okay, so one of Alicia's questions was, if you have mold illness, does that mean you have Ascension symptoms? Or if you have Ascension symptoms, could you potentially have mold illness? And so I wanted to point out that they are not mutually exclusive. You can have both. Or the mold illness could spur an Ascension symptom, or the Ascension symptom is a sign for you to check for the mold illness. Okay. So what I wanted to point out is that your Ascension symptoms are your roadmap to healing, okay? Because as you're ascending the spiral, you're increasing your vibration. As you're increasing your vibration, you are shedding from your cells, right? What does not serve you. And that is usually illness in the form of energetic limiting beliefs that have been implanted into your body through ancestral lineage, Akashic record lineage, and whatever is happening currently in your life. Okay, so in this current lifetime. So that's why it's really difficult to corral Ascension symptoms. There's actually a group called Ascension and Energy Symptoms, and they have a comprehensive 17-page document that lists every Ascension symptom ever reported. It's extensive. Okay, so we covered in our class yesterday, and I'm sorry for those of you who weren't there, you missed it. But we covered in our class a main branch of Ascension symptoms, but there's a lot of Ascension symptoms, okay? But the most common ones are, the ones that people talk about on the internet: fatigue, dizziness, nausea, headaches, head pressure, heat flashes, cold flashes, blah, 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 blah. And all of those things are things that could relate to a hormonal imbalance. They could relate to reproductive issues. They could relate to heart issues, migraine issues, nerve issues. A lot of people who have ascension symptoms also have fibromyalgia because that's the only way that the medical community can explain all of the unexplained pains in our bodies. Okay. So, so to answer that portion of it, let me just say this. The the fibromyalgia, right? The ascension symptoms make you more sensitive. They make you more aware of your environment so that you're able to suss out things that are not for your highest good, right? So if you've been living someplace that has black mold, for instance, and you didn't know about it, but then you come into your awakening and then you begin to get drastically ill. You're going to be like, well, was it the ascension symptom or was it the mold illness? That's chicken or the egg. It's both. There was mold illness already, there was mold, excuse me, already in your home, but until you became awakened, you didn't notice it. It wasn't affecting you as deeply. And then as you came awake, your sensitivity ratcheted up, and then all of a sudden that crippling illness falls upon you because now your system is unable to detox. It's already trying to purge whatever has happened to you in your life. Then you're going to have an external environmental factor kind of attack your system. So I do find that I've spoken to a lot of intuitives, a lot of empaths who have at some point dealt with a serious autoimmune disorder or serious health illness. In fact, I don't know of pretty much any empath who hasn't had a serious health situation that has really jettisoned their awakening. I feel that almost, and I'm just, this is just experiential conversation. Like I'm not, I don't have any real numbers on this. Let me just say that. But as I have surveyed people over the years, it seems that almost everyone who comes awake because of some drastic health issue or drastic life change. So maybe a near death experience or a death of a loved one or a severe illness in themselves, a cancer scare, that kind of thing. It's always a dramatic, life altering situation that comes to draw you into your awakening. It's never something pleasant. I haven't seen that yet. So if you had a pleasant awakening, please by all means, please drop a comment. I would love to speak to you. Okay. So just to answer that portion, this is what I have seen when it comes to the awakening. Okay. So now hold on. I took some notes on this. So, does the physical illness serve the spirituality? That was one of the questions that she had asked also. She says, I understand that if you have an illness for a spiritual sense, you have to address it in the physical. So, let me just say this. The whole purpose of the ascension is to marry the spiritual and the physical all into one intentional individual, which is you, who is now co creating with the universe to harness that energy to live your best life. That is the purpose of the ascension. As you ascend, you get better at co creating, you get better at being in alignment. And I also find that as you ascend, you you get healthier. You do. You get healthier because you start to become the detective of figuring out why you don't feel good, why you're exhausted, why your stomach hurts. And then you start to actually deal with it because your body won't let you not deal with it. A lot of people have gluten intolerances. A lot of people end up dairy intolerances. A lot of people end up with meat intolerances. A lot of people don't. Some people are intolerant to now, alcohol or all these other things. And everybody who just jumped on, thank you so much for joining me live. Kim Ramnuti, I'm an Ascension coach. We're talking about Ascension symptoms. I just want to thank once again my classmate Alisha Aicard for a wonderful question, and also Heather Alisha for a kick-ass class on Ascension symptoms. Okay, so the physical and the spiritual are not mutually exclusive, my darlings. Okay, you are not. I mean, you can. Other people can argue this if they want to, and that's fine. But in my life, in my little mind, the two are not are not mutually exclusive. And so when you're starting to have these ascension symptoms, it's your roadmap to figure out what's wrong so that you can then purge that from your system and then continue to upgrade your DNA, right? So you will have physical illnesses to draw you to the spiritual, because at some point, like if you get a cancer diagnosis, do you not want to pray to somebody? I would. I don't know how people get around without talking to whoever they need to talk to. I talk to angels and the earth and my ancestors constantly. I don't know how I would survive this life without that, because I would never feel supported if I didn't have my spiritual posse holding me down. I would lose my shit. So, you know, I want you to understand that these things, you come into alignment in your ascension so that you can more accurately feel the support of your crew, so that they can help you get through your illness, okay? Now, the exhaustion, all right? That's one of the symptoms that really takes people out early in their awakening, and it makes it extremely difficult to work, okay? And this is a common complaint. How am I supposed to work while dealing with these ascension symptoms? And it also brings to another question Alicia asked, which was, do people go get genetic testing to find out what's going on and see if any of this stuff is going on a genetic level? Because it is, right? But usually early in the ascension, you can't work because you're just floored by the symptoms, and you're going to doctors and they can't find things, but you can't function, right? And that's not everybody. Some people have it better. It depends on your level of trauma and what you have to work through in this lifetime. So the ascension symptom pathway, while there's commonalities to it, it's very individualized. So two people are not going to have a fully resonant experience, but you will come into people who are in your same soul tribe who do have that exact same, not exact same, but a similar type of process. Okay. So you will maybe not have the funds to go get genetic testing, or it may take 2 or 3 years into your process to get to to rule out all the things to get to genetic testing. Me personally, I never made it that far. And also, I'm skeptical. I don't feel like you need to have starseed DNA on deck. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't do a lot of blood tests. I do the minimum that I needed, but I haven't done any genetic marking because I'm not willing to put my DNA out there like that. And call me, whatever. I'll just admit that. We'll move on. Okay. So anyway, um, the other question that she asked about, which was really, really good, was the mycelium, about fungi. Okay. So since mold is a fungus, right? And we know that fairy rings are built by the mycelium. So if you don't know anything about fungus, let's just do a 2-second science lesson, right? So fungus, they make fairy rings, which means they grow in a circle. And that circle can go out almost like 300 meters, sometimes farther. It's crazy. You'll just see like a random mushroom here and a random mushroom like 300, like you don't know, but they're part of the same circle, okay? The same family. They don't have to be close. They're still connected, right? And they're connected by this thing called mycelium. And the mycelium, they're like fingers, and they spread out under the soil, and they connect the mushrooms where nobody can see them, but the mushrooms are still connected. So how does this relate to your ascension symptoms? Well, the unity consciousness is very much, the unity consciousness of 5D is very much like the mycelium, okay? Where we are in different tribes, fairy rings, and we are not necessarily close to each other, but we are connected through our soul tribe. Our soul tribe is connected, and they can be spread all over the world. And this is why a lot of you have found that the people you connect with aren't even in the same damn country, and you can only talk to them on Facebook. Okay. So this is how a lot of us have been getting along for like the last, I don't know, however many years of the ascension, to go ahead and feel connected with people who we resonate with. Because as you start your ascension, the people that you live with generally aren't on your wavelength. And so you feel alienated. And then you need to go find your tribe. Okay. So the process of the mold illness, why does the mold illness feel like the ascension symptoms? Well, it's not really that. It's really that everything's connected. And as we become more 5D like, as we become more unity conscious, we remember that we're connected, and we forge those connections and those psychic connections. And as we interact with our tribe, those connections become stronger. And then we get more downloads related to our tribe and the way that things are working. So Allison's download was about the mycelium, because the mycelium, right? It's what connects us on an energetic level, right? So she was like, fungi, mold. She was like, something, she couldn't piece it together. That's the connection. Okay. That's how we come together. It's because there are millions of us out there. And as we start to light up the grid, there's something called a grid, if you're not aware of this. As we light up the grid as light workers, as we come awake, it's like a little pinpoint. Ping, someone woke up. Ping and ping and ping. And we just pinging all over the world, right? So the way that we wanted to deal with that, is to simply remember that you're not alone. Work on your spiritual connection, because the more connected you are, the more connected that you are, the less able you are to be rocked. The more that you are able, hey Katie, the more that you are able to learn how to heal yourself. Okay. Now, you guys, if you're new to me, you don't know this saying that I have, but I have the saying that says, if you heal yourself, you heal the world. And it's based on this 5D unity consciousness of the fact that we are the mycelium, and that as we heal ourselves, we impact the rest of the network, right? So if you're less fucked, other people are less fucked. That's just how it works, because then you are emanating a vibration of wholeness, of healthiness, and of healing. Okay. That's your goal in the ascension. The ascension is not to be like out of body and blah, blah, blah. Like, all of those things happen. The goal of the ascension is for you to integrate fully your source energy into your human avatar, this body, and then to consciously co-create the paradise that is your life. Okay. That's the goal. Okay. And this is what I coach people into, because that's what the fuck I care about. Like, period. End of story. I've had a crazy life. And if I hadn't worked on this at the levels that I'd worked at, I wouldn't be able to sit here and tell you these things, because that's my goal, that's my purpose, this is my joy, this is my passion, right? So now, mycelium and fungi, the interconnection, how does it all fit together? I just told you guys that. And what is the evolutionary significance? My gosh, guys, Alisha just had all these great questions. So hi, Aisha. Hi, Katie. Thank you guys for being online. Anybody else, please just throw your name in the comments. I can't necessarily see you because I'm on StreamYard. Okay. So how does it all fit together, guys? And is the ascension a DNA upgrade? Yeah, hell yeah, it is. Hell yeah. That's why it hurts. That's why it hurts. It's painful, because you're shedding your cellular structure, right? And how will that look? The shedding process, it takes years. It's not an overnight process. So then it looks like, to the science community or the medical community, it looks like a disease process, because they don't have a wellness process. Okay. They don't understand that you shed to upgrade, you purge to move forward, and then your balance comes to a better place. Okay. Now, are you always going to be affected by the ascension symptoms? I'm pretty much going to say yes, because you're not the only one upgrading. The reason we're having ascension symptoms is because Mother Earth herself is upgrading. So she is also purging and shedding. And that is why you see what you see in the news right now. That's what you see on the planet right now. This is a process of purging and shedding and bringing to light everything that is not of value and of healthiness to this planet. Like, there's a lot of things going on this planet that are not to the benefit of us all. We can agree on that, right? But what we can't agree on is the process of how to fix it or whatever. But guess what? The Earth is a living entity. Gaia 1000% has this. And she is also ratcheting up her frequency. And in the process, this is the fallout. The fallout is illness, death, war, climate changes, all of these things. None of these things are separate. This is a global event, and you, my friends, have the front seat to the ascension process in this global event. You're here at a time for a purpose, for a reason, and to help. Okay? So your goal is to get a hold of your ascension symptoms so you can be functional again. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. It took me about 7 years to become functional. 7 years. It was a long time. I suffered for a little minute. Yeah, it sucked, right? And this year hasn't been much easier. I'm not going to lie. I've had a rough year. That's why you haven't seen my face so much. But for the purpose of what? To become clearer and brighter and shinier, more in tune with your purpose, to love yourself more and love others more and affect change on a true level from an energetic standpoint, from the heart. That's where the change starts. It doesn't start outside. It doesn't start next door. It starts here. If you don't change this, nothing changes. Okay? Just nothing changes if you don't change this. Okay? So, and then the last thing that I wanted to touch on is this preparation for psychicness? This was a great question. And I want to say, hell yes. Hell yes, it is, because we're connected, which means then we can eventually tune into each other's thoughts. And people are already doing it. People are already doing it. I only do distance Reiki. I don't do Reiki to people who are in front of me. I do it to people who are thousands of miles away. And do you know that they get the energy? It works. And my Reiki master, my Reiki master is in Italy, and she does Reiki sessions on me. And I say things to her in my Reiki session, and then she'll say them back to me when she's telling me the results of it, because that's not a problem anymore. If you so choose to become open to connect to source, please, and let's be specific about that. You don't want to just open to connect to anything, because then you're just going to pick up some bullshit. And there is bullshit out there, okay? I want you to be aware of that. Everything that the human mind has imagined is available for you to tap into, good or bad. So when you are trying to connect, you need to be very clear about what your intention is for connecting. Hi, I would like to connect with only in beings that are here for my highest good, who are here in love, who want to lead me on my path, who are here for the enrichment of humanity, myself, and others. That's a very specific intention that you need to set whenever you're connecting to people, is to the universe, especially if you're new. Okay. So, because if you don't, you just gonna get some random fuck shit. Like, I'm gonna just tell you that. I have done it. I spent years plagued by spirits that I didn't need to be plagued by, because I just opened up a box and was like, hey, let's talk. Not understanding that I'm extremely spiritual and connected to the other world. I messed myself up. Okay. So I just want to throw that out there. When you're trying to connect, please be extremely clear about your intention for connecting and what you're connecting with. It has to be for your highest good. It has to be in love, okay? Unconditional love, not this conditional shit they taught us on this planet, okay? So, and I think that's basically it, guys. That's everything that I wanted to answer for Alisha, because she had such great questions, and I just want to thank her for being brave enough to ask them. She posted it in our class forum, but I just want to thank you guys so much. If you have any questions, I'll hang out for a couple of seconds. If you want to just drop them in the chat. I can speak. Drop them in the chat. And while I have you guys here waiting for some questions, let me just throw this out. Katie, I'm really glad that you needed to hear this, and that this really resonated with you. I do want to say that September 13th, I believe, is going to begin the shadow period of the next Mercury retrograde. So FYI with that, guys. Mercury retrograde is going to start this year, I believe, on September 27th. I got to double check that. It could be, yeah, I think it's 27th. And so you guys know what that means. Mercury retrograde, we're going to have issues with communication, business, travel, money. Conversations are going to blow up. Your autocorrect is going to go straight to crap. I don't know about you guys. I get the Mercury retrograde in the shadow period. I get the bulk of it 2 weeks before it hits the rest of the populace. And so my autocorrect goes straight to crap. I just start typing everything incorrect, and I just already know what time it is. So just prep yourself for that. If this is your first awareness of a Mercury retrograde, guys, go ahead and update your phones now. Back up your stuff now. Don't do that stuff during the retrograde. If you have any car issues, try to get them fixed before the retro. They tend to, your car will break down usually in a retro. If you've already got plans to travel and you already set them, that's fine, but just be open to the fact that you might have to cancel or something might go wrong. Okay, so do some planned preparedness. Okay, bring some crap with you that's extra just in case. All right, guys, I have got to get my day started, but I just wanted to hop on here real quick. And it wasn't quick at all. It was 25 damn minutes. But anyway, she had a lot of good questions. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this live. I'll be back doing more lives again. I have more free time now, thankfully. So I'll get to be helping you guys learn and educate some stuff. Stay tuned. If you haven't tagged me on, or if you haven't put the notifications buttons on my Facebook page, feel free to hit it because I'll be popping on here and sharing more wisdom with you. And we'll be relaunching here in October. So stay tuned for that. Once again, my name is Kimmer Minuti, Friendly Neighborhood Ascension Coach. I hope that you all have a blessed and wonderful rest of your day. I love you.